You are now listening to the Vitalize podcast. Hey yo, what up, family? Welcome back to the Vitalize podcast. You're here with your friendly neighborhood host, Mr. Marcus Black, also known as Mr. Because You Can. And I'm super excited, elated, ecstatic, and all the other words that start with E, like eccentric. That's not a word. Like elevated. Like, okay, I tried. I'm excited to be in your presence today. We've been having fun, man. Y'all been having fun, man. Put a 1 in the chat if you've been having fun. There is no chat, but just find it. Find a way to put a 1 somewhere randomly. If you got my phone number, text me a 1. If you follow me on Instagram, if you don't, at MBlack Speaks, DM me a 1. If you follow me at TikTok, at MBlack Speaks, DM me a 1. If you follow me at Twitter, go to my last post. There's no such thing as Twitter. If you follow me on X, go and put a 1. However you get to it, just send me a 1 and I'll just see all these wearing. Go to YouTube. If you follow me on YouTube, go to the most recent video, put a 1, and then I'll know that you've been enjoying yourself, and that will give me encouragement to keep growing, keep going, keep living, and keep loving life, and to keep on keeping on as we continue to produce at the highest level, the Vitalize podcast. Shout out to Rose Records, OKC, and the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Taylor Moore. Listen, we're here for a good time, not for a long time. So if you're here for the very first time, thank you for joining. Listen, you part of the family now. Ain't no such thing as a second-time guest in this community. So what that means is it's time for you to tell a friend, just like a friend told you, and we can keep the party train rocking and rolling and make it do what it do, baby, because we can. So I'm excited to get into today's topic, but I just want to pause for the cause and thank you guys for real for sharing the message. That really means a lot to me. We're gonna push this podcast to the ends of the earth and beyond. And let's continue to grow, rise, elevate by putting this in front of people. So I want to come back and give you a message today. And there's a guy that I found on the internet and actually met him and got to have a conversation with him a few times on Clubhouse. Back to that episode earlier this season, remember that one? You're going to hear me refer to Clubhouse a lot. I'm going to refer to Clubhouse a lot this season because I'm going to tell you about all the crazy things that I've been able to do and the people I've been able to meet and the accomplishments I've been able to have, all back from that tiny little app. So, had an opportunity to meet an individual by the name of Evan Carmichael. Some of y'all already know who that is. He is incredible as it pertains to YouTube creation, content creation, and he really is just a serious guy, man, an incredible guy. Got to have conversation, like I said. But he does this cool thing where he goes and finds his favorite creators on the planet, looks at their life, looks at how they live, and studies them, studies what they teach, studies their interviews, and comes up with a list of 10 rules to live by. Kobe Bryant's 10 rules to live by. LeBron James, 10 rules to live by. Eric Thomas, 10 rules to live by. So on, so forth. 10 rules to live by. And so I love that concept so much, I was like, what if I gave you MBlack Speaks 10 rules to live by? And I said, you know what? Not what if. I'm going to give you the 10 rules to live by. So without further ado, I'm going to just get right to it because we ain't here for the longest time. And I want to give you these things that you can go. So if you're a pens and pads kind of person, pull out your pen, pull out your pad, get ready, and tap in with me because you can. So these are in no particular order. Well, the last couple of orders are the most important, but outside of those, they're in no particular order. So it's not like this is number 1, this is number 2. I'm just going to say them in the order that I wrote them because the order that they came up and they popped into my heart. So I know I said that really fast, but it's because I'm feeling lots of energy and lots of juice and really excited. And I'm bursting with beaming, with teeming, with joy. And some of y'all was like, man, what kind of energy drink that dude on? I ain't had an energy drink, fam. What kind of coffee that dude on? None. I'm just happy to be alive and happy to be in your presence and happy to be breaking bread with the Vitalize podcast community. Golly, that was about to be a tongue twister. Say it 3 times fast. Vitalize podcast community. There we are. Vitalize podcast community with the Vitalize podcast community with the Vitalize podcast community. Okay, we good. We got it now. All right, so rule number 1, 10 rules to live by. MBlack Speaks. Always be positive. Always be positive, man. I think it's so easy to get swallowed up in the negativity of the world It's so easy to become jaded to where we can start to kind of have our lens slanted a certain particular way. We can become cynical in our approach to people and opportunities. And some of you are throwing away the opportunity of a lifetime being negative because you had so many negative experiences before. You think, well, it's always going to be negative, so I'm never going to hope for anything better. Nothing's ever going to be better than it is right now because I've already been through so many things. And I'm telling you, stop doing that to yourself. You can ruin your whole life, or you can bless your whole life just by shifting the paradigm or perspective through which you view your circumstances. There's great power in the lens through which you choose to view your circumstances. Will you choose to view from an empowered place, positive, or will you choose to view from a negative place that takes life away from you? I pray you choose the former, from an empowered place. Choose positivity. In a world where you can be anything in the world, like be positive. Be positive. Have a glass half full mentality because it helps you. It helps you have peace in your heart and your soul. Like some of y'all is like, man, forget that. Some of y'all right now, half of y'all listening to the sound of my voice is like, nah, forget that. I'm going to be negative. Well, then be negative then. Be negative, Nancy, all by yourself, because I'm not going to be around you, not when you thinking like that. There's so much beauty in the world, but the more grateful I am, the more beauty I see. So I choose to see positivity. And because of it, my world is filled with beauty. You can call me Shakespeare. I'm being facetious, but choose positivity, man. That's important. That's rule number one. Moving right along, keeping the party train rocking and rolling. 10 rules to live by. Mr. MBlack speaks. Number 2, choose happy. Every single day of your life, choose happy. Now, I said it that way very intentionally because there's tons of people in the world who feel unhappy. I'm just not happy. I wish I was happy. This relationship doesn't make me happy. This job doesn't make me happy. These kids don't make me happy. This money, this bank account doesn't make me happy. I'm just not happy. And as long as you are depending on external situations, circumstances, and factors to make you happy, you'll never be it. You'll never be happy. Because real people understand, wise people understand that happiness is an inside job. Happiness is an inside job. That means you choose it. It's a choice that I make every day. I don't depend on, not even my wife to make me happy. I don't depend on my kids to make me happy. I don't depend on my career, my job, my clients to make me happy. I choose to be happy every single day. And as a result, my life looks different. My life feels pretty good because it's a choice. And I'm daring you to make that same choice. Just give it a try. Some of y'all is already checked out. You don't want to hear nothing else I got because I'm giving you hard things to do out the gate. Guess what? Nothing worth having ever comes easy, fam. If it came easy, it's not worth having. Fight for what you want. Fight for your happiness. Fight for your right to not to be happy. Fight for your right to be happy. Rule number 3, moving right along, man. I love this. I love it. 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 Life is good even when it's not. Even when it's not, life is good. That means on your worst day, there's always something to be thankful for. Somebody always has it worse than you, and I know it's hard to think about that when you're in the middle of a crisis. But even on your worst day, there's still something in there that you can choose to be grateful for. I have to remind myself often that even when life isn't good, even when I'm down, even when I have a moment of despair, bro, you're still alive. There's still a heart beating inside your chest, and it's beating well. I went to the doctor today, and I had to get my blood pressure checked because I ain't been on my medicine in 10 days. I take a blood pressure pill to help me regulate some things. I'm feeling a little off. I ain't been on that blood pressure pill in a while. Sure haven't. But you know what, though? Want to know something remarkable? My blood pressure was perfect. And that in itself was something to be grateful for. Like, wow, without that medicine, my blood pressure was still perfect. I'm grateful. I can breathe on my own power. I'm grateful. My heart is beating without me telling it to, without a machine helping it. I'm grateful. I can get up and walk myself around this room. I'm grateful. I can move my hands. I can think my thoughts. I can open my mouth and speak life. I'm grateful. Are you grateful? Because while you're busy wallowing in the mud, you can keep doing that, wallowing in the mud and being miserable, or you can bury yourself in the ish that is surrounding you and use it as fertilizer to grow and propel you to be bigger, better, higher than what you thought you could. Understand that life is good even when it's not. That's a principle to live by, and that's number 3. Keeping the party train rocking and rolling. Number four is cherish every moment. Cherish every moment. I know all too well because Death and I did the tango. If you're new here, me and Death did the tango a few times, and I live to tell about it. And when you dance with Death, it changes you in ways that you cannot even fathom. And what I learned is that every moment is one worth cherishing. Good, bad, regular, mundane. So many moments of our life, we just work from one moment to the next. If I just get from this moment to the next moment, from this moment to the next moment, from this moment to the next moment, going from milestone to milestone to milestone, not realizing that you have just bypassed. So many people like, I hate Monday. I don't. I love Monday. Thank God it's Monday. Monday is a valuable, vital part of your life. You know, if you just dread every Monday and just go through the motions every Monday, add up the amount of Mondays in a year. It's 52 weeks in a year. It's 52 Mondays in a year. All right, the average person lives 70-something years, 50-something times 70-something. I'm not a math person, but you get the picture. That's a whole lot of days you ain't never going to get back that you just wasted. You just wasted those days rather than taking a moment to see the beauty in those days and realizing that those days were a gift to you. You got little kids and they growing up so rapidly. Man, I got little kids. And they want to come and cuddle up and sit on my lap and hug. And I have to, some days I'm tired and some days I just want to lay down and sleep and I don't want little lions crawling all over me. But before I move them off of me, I always stop myself and say, hey man, this moment you have is but a vapor. They're going to be too big for this one day. And they're not going to want to do this anymore. They're not going to want to sit with you. They're not going to want to talk to you. They're going to have teenage attitudes. Then they're going to go on and build their own lives. And you may not talk to them every day. And so I have to remind myself and tell myself right now that, bro, this is a precious moment to be cherished. Parents, cherish the moment. Spouses, I'm in front of my spouse, but my eyes are glued to the phone. There's going to come a day where I might not have eyes to be able to see the beauty of my wife. I don't know that, but maybe. You don't often cherish it until it's gone or take it for granted. Don't take for granted the simple blessings that are around you every day. Cherish the moment. Hell yeah, this is deep, baby. 10 rules to live by. MBlack Speaks told you. Shout out to Evan Carmichael for the idea. The next one is focus on the important rather than the urgent. Focus on the important rather than the urgent. We live in a perpetual state of overwhelm, running around this place like chickens with the head cut off. I don't know if y'all ever seen that, but if you cut a chicken's head off, then he will live for a little while and he will just run. It'll be a headless chicken just running amok, running in circles. That's how we look in this world. Running from one fire to the next fire, to the next fire, to the next fire, trying to put out all the fires, just struggling, straining. I'm struggling and straining from one place to the next. And I am one to say like, yo, all that stuff that's urgent is not necessarily important. Some of that stuff, even though it's urgent, is somebody else's urgency. And you ain't got to drop your life to run and save the day for somebody else all the time. And then when you can help and you're the only person that can help, tap in, help. But sometimes you need to just let people be and let them figure it out. They're going to figure it out. You don't always have to do that. And I wanted you to know that. So instead, there's some things that are more important than others. Spend your time and your energy focusing there. When I think of my life, there's all these random fires and things that need to happen, and they need to happen fast. And there's a lot of urgency around what other people are doing. And then there's my wife and there's my boys. That's important. There's my health and my strength. That's important. There's my mental health. That's important. That's my business. That's important. Everything else pretty much falls in that urgent quadrant. It didn't come from those few things. So how are you prioritizing your life to figure out, do you know the difference between what's urgent and what's important in your life? If not, then you need to do a little bit of soul searching. You need to do a little bit of work to figure out the difference between what's urgent and what's important, and focus on the important and not run around like that chicken on the urgent. Speaking of the heart of gratitude, the next one is focus on what you do have rather than what you don't. I can't tell you how many people that I have conversations with that's just like, oh man, it must be nice to be traveling the world, getting paid to speak. It must be nice to have a podcast that is so pretty and so beautiful. It must be nice. It must be nice. Like my guy on TikTok, what's up, Tunky? It must be nice. Yes, it is very nice. I ain't even gonna lie to you. It is very nice. But then they're like, but why would you just say that? Are you supposed to say like, oh no, man, no. I'm gonna tell you the truth. It is nice, but it didn't happen on accident. And while you're looking at what must be nice, you can just use the things that you have in order to make it a reality. So what I'm telling you is all you have is all you need. While you're busy making excuses about, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, I don't have the followers, I don't have the support, I don't have. Okay, quit telling me what you don't have. What do you have? Because I guarantee you, if you focus more on what you did have rather than what you don't, you realize you can do a whole lot more than you thought you could. People been making something out of nothing for the entire history of the world. You can make something out of nothing as well. And it really ain't nothing. You can make something out of something. You can make something greater out of the something that you already have by leaning into the something that you have. As you can see, you struck a chord. What do you have? Quit telling me what you don't have. And get up and go use what you have to make your dreams a reality. And in that same vein, another rule for you to live by. We got 10 of these, by the way. We coming on down the mountain. We got this right here is 7. This is 7. Focus on solutions, not problems. Focus on solutions, not problems. I be getting on people's nerves, and I ain't gonna lie to you. Sometimes people come to me and they just want to tell me the world's greatest problem, the insurmountable problem, the problem that can't be solved. But the way I have learned to build my life is, okay, we can't do nothing about that. So what can we do something about? How can we move towards a solution? And what can we do to escalate or move things up more swiftly to get us to the position where we want to be in? And I have people that want to tell me the problem, and they just want me to sit and listen to problem for hours and hours. They could do this for hours and hours and hours. They could do this for hours and hours. This is some of y'all know that is money long, hours and hours. That's how I feel like some people like to do with their problems, and just talk about them for hours and hours and hours. I have things I would rather do, honestly, than listen to you complain for hours. And don't get me wrong, I have a heart of compassion. I have a listening ear for anybody that's struggling or that's in need. But after you get it out and then we start shifting to the solution, and you don't want no solution. You just want to stay in the problem. You want to have a pity party. You want somebody to just woe is me. And you want, nah, fam, I'm not doing that. Because even for myself, before I even go down the rabbit hole of the problem and how big and bad the problem is, I'm already on 3 solutions. Because what I learned in this life is everything is figure-outable. And that's a book. Somebody wrote it. I don't know who wrote it, but everything is figure-outable. There is a solution to every problem that you have. You just got to find what the solution is. It's like those role play games. RPG, you get out there, you got to get a puzzle, and you don't know how to figure out the puzzle. There's a solution to that puzzle. You just got to keep trying until you figure it out. And sometimes it take you a little longer than others, but figure it out. Focus on the solution, because there is a solution. And stop hyper-focusing on the problem. Great job. 7. Number 8. Number 8 is, if you're going to have success in this life, MBlack Speaks, 8th rule to live by is you got to be about that action, boss. My man Marshawn Lynch said that. Got to be about that action, boss. What does that mean? Tired of hearing people talking. I was a talker for a long time. I ain't no talker no more. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Matter of fact, I'm in a podcast studio right now. We had a good chuckle earlier because I had a brilliant idea. I got it. You ain't seen it yet, but it's coming. Trust me. When I say it's coming, I'm like my man Deion Sanders. We coming. You don't even know where we coming. How we coming? We coming. And I say, hey, man, I got this idea. I just need you to set up a mic. Let's get to it. Let's work. He's like, what are we doing? I said, I'm recording bedtime stories. He said, what? I said, just trust me. Bedtime stories. He's like, what are you going to do with bedtime stories? So don't just trust me. I just had an idea, told him I wanted to do it, came to the studio, 2 series, 2 whole, not 2 stories, 2 series of stories, like 12, 13, 14 stories, done. It's not a game. Think it's a game? It's not a game. I'm showing you, I take ideas and I turn them into action by being about that action, because the dream that you dream in your heart is motion activated. That means it don't work unless you do. So if you want to be successful, MBlack Speaks said, you can't just talk about it. You got to be about it. Don't tell me what you want, and then your actions don't reflect what you say you want, because then you really don't want what you said you wanted. Otherwise, your actions will reflect what you say that you want. About that action, boss. Straight like that. And that leads me right up to number 9. Number 9 I have tattooed right here on this arm. And my 9th rule to live by is to live in love. The first thing I ever said when I was making a video was my goal in life is simply this. I want you to live and not just be alive. But it's not enough to simply live life. But I want you to love the life that you live. I want you to live life, and I want you to love the life that you live. Don't just be alive, going through the motions. I want you to live. Some of y'all is just going through the motions, Monday to Sunday, Sunday to Monday, yo. And you just going through the motions. And I'm saying, stop doing that. Stop going through the motions. Live life to the fullest, embracing every moment, cherishing, and love the life that you live, because you can. You can love the life that you live. Whether you believe it or not, you can. Speaking of, that might as well get right to it. That takes me to number 10. And number 10 is tattooed on my other arm and also worn on my chest proudly. 10th rule to live by is because you can. Because you can. And I know some of y'all don't know where that comes from. I tell this story a lot, but you know, in a world that's telling you you can't, I'm telling you you can. I was told what I cannot do my entire life, and I believed that for a very long time. I bought the lies that I could not, would not, wasn't enough, and I believed that for far too long until one day the light bulb went off that I could, and so I did. And I started telling myself I could, and I did to a greater degree, and I started believing that I could, and so I did. And then I started yelling at the world, you can too. So when I tell you, when you see these words, it's more than just words on a shirt. It is a mantra. It is a way to live your life, to know that there is nothing you can come to that you cannot achieve or accomplish. There's no dream you can set that is too big. There's no mountain high enough that you can't climb. I'm telling you can, and whoever told you you can't, they lied, and you can tell them I said it. So the next time you find yourself in a world, tell them MBlack Speaks said, I can have peace. I can have joy. I can live and love my life, and I can make all of my dreams come true. And you go take these rules, you write them down, you figure out how to implement them in your life, and you go live your best life because you can. Vitalize.